Hey everyone, Coach Bobby from BC4 Performance. Today we're looking at defensive linemen and how they can use not only athleticism, but tactics from other positions on the field to be able to get in to the backfield and really disrupt the quarterback. So we're going to look at both of these. Myles Garrett does something that we talk about for wide receivers of getting off the line in a release. So this is a viral video where he's doing the whole crossover thing, but really what he does is when he lines up right here, okay, he's going to take a quick step and a jab step, and then he's going to come back inside. So we'll play here, jab step, comes back inside, and he's able to get inside and disrupt the play. So the reason that this works is because when we talk for wide receivers about getting a release off the line, we want to make sure that we attack outside the frame of the player's body. So for Myles Garrett right now, the outside shoulder of the lineman is here. So he needs to attack outside here or here, because if he doesn't take that step outside of the frame of the offensive lineman, he's not going to move, he's not going to care. Okay, so he does a really good job of this first step. He goes outside of that frame, so he has more than half of his body outside of this shoulder. So now that offensive lineman has to respect that move. Now, he doesn't need to throw his entire body, but he wants to at least get the step out there and get the head on the outside of that frame. And now once he does that, you'll see the slight hesitation from the lineman to move to the right. And then when he comes back, he does a very good job of planting that right foot in front. Okay, so he attacks in front of his body, does a good job of dipping the shoulder at the same time, and then he's able to come straight up the field and get into Joe Burrow's face. So this is exactly what we talk about, like I said, with wide receivers. You attack outside the frame of the body, and then when you get back to climbing, all right, so for wide receivers, if we were to release here and then climb up the field, we want to make sure we get that foot in front of our body, and then we're going to dip that shoulder and get straight up the field. So for a wide receiver, if we were running a seam or a go route, this is exactly what we would be teaching them. Myles Garrett just takes that and he's able to put that into attacking an offensive lineman to get up the field. Okay, now if we go over to Josh Uche, he does something we talk about in terms of routes. And this is very impressive for a defensive lineman. Not that they can't do this, but obviously they're bigger guys, they're heavier guys. So for him to be able to make this type of move is very impressive. He's actually going to do a rocker step, which is something that you don't normally see defensive guys doing. Okay, a rocker step for wide receivers is typically a deep threat wide receiver. So rocker step being as he plants here, he's going to jab to that outside and then come back in and dip. All right, so for wide receivers, we'd be teaching this. Let's say we were going to run a corner. We'd be jabbing, at the post and then coming back inside. So for him to be able to do this, it's impressive. But what he does a good job of is when he throws that head, he throws that upper body, when he plants, he really sells that he's going to go outside around the offensive tackle, which is why Lane Johnson has to jump out there thinking he's going out there. And then he does a very good job of pairing that step back inside. Same thing as what we just talked about with Myles Garrett. All right, if we watch the left foot, he then plants, pushes into the right step, but he climbs up the field. All right, so moves further up the field, closer to Lane Johnson, and then he dips the shoulder at the same time. And then with that next step on the left foot, he's able to climb a little bit further up into the pocket and then get around that and get into Jalen Hurts' face. So just very impressive for defensive linemen. And like I said, guys, it's something that this translates across all of the positions. So which is why for youth players, if you're a youth coach, you want to train the players at every single position. You want them to have the skill set of everything from offensive lineman, defensive lineman, all the way up through quarterback, wide receiver, running back. You never know what people can play and what they can do. And also when you're training on plyometrics or fundamental skills and footwork, you want everyone to be very athletic and be able to perform all of these different movements that are going to be on the field, because you can plug and play people everywhere. So very good job by both of these guys. Very interesting to see defensive linemen kind of using some wide receiver tactics that we would be using to kind of get around guys. So they're doing the same thing. And just due to that athleticism and their crispness, they're able to get around. So guys, new video every single week. Click the subscribe button, please. Definitely, is good to have that. And you guys will get new content all the time. And, comment on there if there's different plays you'd like to see, different matchups, and, always looking for, something new that you guys would like to see.